Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Unity of New Westminster on this Canada Day weekend. Please stand as we sing our opening song today. This Land is Your Land, the Canadian version. Let's see what it sounds like.
This land is your land, this land is my land. From Bona Vista to Vancouver Island, from the Arctic Circle to the Great Lake waters, this land was made for you and me. As I was walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me the endless skyway. I saw below me the golden valley, singing, this land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land. From Bona Vista to Vancouver Island, from the Arctic Circle to the Great Lake waters, this land was made for you and me. I roamed and I rambled, and I followed my footsteps, and all around me a voice was calling to the sparkling sands of her golden beaches, singing, this land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land. From Bona Vista to Vancouver Island, from the Arctic Circle to the Great Lake waters, this land was made for you and me. When the sun came shining, then I was strolling through the wheat fields waving, and the dust clouds rolling. A voice was chanting as the fog was lifting, singing, this land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land. From Bona Vista to Vancouver Island, from the Arctic Circle to the Great Lake waters, this land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land. From Bona Vista to Vancouver Island, from the Arctic Circle to the Great Lake waters, this land was made for you and me.
Wasn't that a fun song? And nice to sing together to a song that's just like a folky, uplifting song on this gorgeous, gorgeous Canada Day weekend. Welcome to Unity of New Westminster. If you are joining us as someone who has been here before, welcome back. And for those of you who are joining for the very first time, a very warm welcome to you. Thank you for getting on the bus all the way from White Rock to be here today. Wow. And if you are joining us online, either in person, live, that's what I mean to say, either live or sometime in the future, then on behalf of all of us here at Unity in New Westminster in beautiful British Columbia, Canada, a warm welcome to you. We join together here every Sunday to consider ideas for full and abundant living. We draw on the teachings of Jesus, who we consider our primary way shower and example. And we honor that there is wisdom to be found in faith traditions all over the planet. There's wisdom to be found outside of faith tradition, in song and in books, in poetry, in movies, and in life experiences. We honor every person's right to choose their own life path. All are welcome here. All are worthy here. All are celebrated here. And our intention is to offer you ideas so that your life can be more calm, more connected, and more contented. Shall we begin today in a time of centering prayer? we give thanks. Today we give thanks particularly for this land, for this territory in which we exist, for this space where Unity of New Westminster has a place. And it is on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Cookite First Nation. Today we give thanks with even more awareness for Indigenous peoples and their connection and their love for this land that we now all call home. We give thanks that we could join together today to laugh, to sing, to connect with one another, and to be reminded of our oneness. To be reminded that whatever our understanding for God may be, whether it is a religious understanding or a secular understanding, there is only one power. And it is in that power that each one of us live and breathe and have our being. It is in that one power that each one of us is connected to the people beside us, the people we know, the people we don't know. And it is from this awareness of our oneness that we intend a blessing for love, a blessing for peace, a blessing for healing. And we extend that blessing to every person, to every being on this planet. We give thanks for our opportunity to be reminded of our power to intend. And how grateful we are. And so it is. Amen. And I'm going to invite Sharon to read the daily word for us.
Thank you. And can you hear me? Okay. And I love that little railing there, too. Okay. Hi, I'm Sharon. Daily word is the release. I release and move forward with a grateful heart. Although my experience can be seen as a gift or deep understanding, appreciate it at first. When I struggle to release a painful memory, I can open my mind and heart to better receive the gift of that experience. For instance, learning why a relationship ended shows me where I can grow in understanding and empathy. Feeling the unconditional love of God, I forgive my past weaknesses and make amends where I can. When I recognize that holding on to resentment hurts only me, I can more easily release it and forgive. Blessed by the power of release and grateful for the power of God within, I move forward ready to live and love fully again. This reading was inspired by the book of Genesis, chapter 32, verse. Let me go, for the day is breaking. But Jake, unless you bless me. And now we'll hear today's announcements.
Good morning, everybody. The morning announcements. Thank you, Sharon, by the way. Yes, please join us on Zoom tomorrow for Monday meditation from 10:30 to 11:15. We check in with each other, we enjoy guided meditation, and we uplift and acknowledge each person as we read the names of the people on our prayer list. To add someone to the prayer list, please fill in a prayer request slip with the person's first name and the initial of their last name, then place it in the offering basket. If you're new here, there is a little pamphlet on your chair there. You'll find it inside. You can also send us an email or submit a prayer request on our website or app. Starting next week, our meditation time will be moved to Tuesdays. Whoa, big news, everybody. Next week, our meditation time will be moved to Tuesdays at 4:30. Okay, 4:30. Okay, today is the last Sunday in, okay, that was it. Now we're moving on. Thank you. Today, is the last Sunday in the month, and it is the day that we celebrate the people who had birthdays in this month. It is also potluck lunch day. Please stay and eat, even if you didn't bring anything. We have amazing potluck lunches, or join us if you're new to this group as well, too. Okay, next. Oh, nice. Thank you. Love this. Okay, join us after our potluck today for Cindy's Creative Cafe. I don't see Cindy. Oh my gosh, I do. Cindy, shout out to you. Okay, and karaoke. Nice. Can't believe I didn't see your shining face radiating from the back corner there. Sorry about that. It is a chance for you to paint, draw, sing, tell a story, or work on your own craft project, as well as dazzle us with your karaoke skills. This event is by donation. If you want to paint, the cost is $10 to pay for the materials. Here's your chance to connect with friends, share your talents, and learn something new. Join us after the service and after the potluck as well. Each month from 1 to 3 p.m., all are welcome. Okay, and then we have here, Unity of New Westminster is fully self-supported, and we are grateful for your gifts which support our being here. Many of us contribute with pre-authorized payments, which are especially helpful for our budgeting. For our online viewers, you'll find a donation link in the description of the recording, and please like and subscribe to our channel so we can reach more people. As you leave today, please place your gift into the basket at the front, and please give freely from a place of abundance and gratitude. Thank you. We are so blessed.
Yay. Thank you, Chelsea. You're so awesome at reading announcements. Thank you. We're going to do things a little differently today. And one of the things we're going to do is invoke our inner child for this next song. When I grew up in South Africa, and you won't believe it, but in South Africa as a child, when I grew up, there were two images of Canada that everyone held, that I held. One was lumberjacks in flannel shirts, and the other was the song that we learned in elementary school as Around. And unfortunately, I don't have the words for it, but Miss Katie is a Toronto musician and actor who has a YouTube channel for children that is amazing. It takes little kids on little outings, like what an airplane looks like. And I have learned more about airplanes from watching Miss Katie with my 2-year-old granddaughter than I ever would have learned otherwise. And she's going to sing a song that I learned in South Africa about Canada. So I hope this is familiar to you. If not, you'll get it. You'll get it. Let's hear it.
Boom diddy yada, boom diddy yada, boom diddy yada, boom. Can you try that with me? Boom diddy yada, boom diddy yada, boom diddy yada, boom. Let's sing the whole song. Land of the silver birch, home of the beaver, where still the mighty moose wanders at will. Blue lake and rocky shore, I will return once more. Boom diddy yada, boom diddy yada, boom diddy yada, boom. High on the rocky ledge, I build my wigwam, close to the water's edge, silent and still. Blue lake and rocky shore, I will return once more. Boom diddy yada, boom diddy yada, boom diddy yada, boom. Swift as a silverfish, canoe of birch bark, thy mighty waterways carry me forth. Blue lake and rocky shore, I will return once more. Boom diddy yada, boom diddy yada, boom diddy yada, boom. High as an eagle soars over the mountains, my spirit rises up, free as a bird. Blue lake and rocky shore, I will return once more. Boom diddy yada, boom diddy yada, boom diddy yada, boom. Boom diddy yada, boom diddy yada, boom diddy yada, boom. Let's try that part one more time. Boom diddy yada, boom diddy yada, boom diddy yada, boom. Great singing, everyone. I really hope you like that song. It's a special song for Canada, and Canada really is a beautiful place, just like it says in the song.
Miss Katie has lots of videos. It's a YouTube channel. It's designed for children, but apparently it's for children of all ages. And what's really nice is that she's Canadian. And so she brings, she, at one point, one of her outings is going to a maple syrup farm and that kind of thing. It's really sweet. It's really sweet. Today, for a meditation, I thought I would just pull together a few of the quotes that we heard from Chief Robert Joseph last year. I have some other ideas just to share with you. So if you feel comfortable, I invite you to close your eyes and take a deep breath. And become aware of this in and out of life, this ability to inhale and exhale, to flow. To flow. And as you hear some of these words, reflect on their eternal wisdom. From Chief Robert Joseph, hereditary chief of the Quinnic First Nation. Let us call in our higher selves, our human consciousness, in wanting something bigger and better for all of us. our mutual healing and reconciliation depends on telling the real history between us. We must bring about balance and harmony. Let us belong to this time and place together. I repeat that one. We must bring about balance and harmony. Let us belong to this time and place together. The words of Richard Wagamisi. An indigenous author, storyteller. I've been considering the phrase, all my relations, for some time now. It's hugely important. It's our saving grace in the end. It points to the truth that we are all related, that we are all connected, that we all belong to each other. The most important word is all. Not just those who look like me, sing like me, dance like me, speak like me, pray like me, or behave like me. All my relations. That means every person, just as it means every rock, mineral, blade of grass, and creature. We live because everything else does. If we were to choose collectively to live that teaching, the energy of our change of consciousness would heal each of us and heal the planet. Richard Wagamisi, from his work, Embers. And I invite you then to hear these final words from our friend Chief Robert Joseph. They are echoed in the words from Embers. I quote, "We all share a common humanity. No matter how long or difficult the path ahead, we are all one." Take these words into your heart. The concept that we are all one. How would my life change if I could accept that others don't need to look like me, or think like me, or sing like me, or pray like me? We are all one. Amen. This song that you are about to hear is an Indigenous version of O Canada. We will sing O Canada in English later, but I thought this was so lovely, I wanted to share it with you. That was an Indigenous choir from Toronto singing that. I think some of the language may have been French. I don't know if all of it is, but an Indigenous choir. So why am I interested in talking about Canada today? other than the fact that 2 days from now is Canada Day and we celebrate the founding of this nation on July 1st. I also want to talk about it because I think it's important for us to lean into these words, the words in our national anthem that say, "O Canada, we stand on guard for thee." I mentioned earlier today my family moved here in 1977 from South Africa. When we moved, 1977 in South Africa was a place that was a regime of fascism. They didn't call themselves fascist, they called themselves democratic. But I figured it was fascism one day in history class when I asked the teacher in South Africa, why, if we say we're a democratic country, why is it that 80% of our population is not allowed to vote? Because of their color. And she said, "I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to answer that question in the classroom." And I said, "Oh, that's what you said about fascism." And she told me to sit down. We moved from a land of violence to a place of peace. Oh my goodness. From a land that was filled with danger to a place where kids could play on the street and not worry about who they were playing with and whether it was okay or whether the guard dogs that everybody had because it was a place of violence, whether the guard dogs would come out and try to bite you because they would see you as a threat. We moved from a place where my father was threatened for speaking up about the rights of a person of color to inherit land that had been left for him. Getting a phone call in the middle of the night saying, "You have 5 children, how many do you want to keep?" So we moved to this country where military service is not required for all boys when they leave school, as it was in South Africa at that time, where in the law it is enshrined that people are to be treated equally. And Canada is known for its peacefulness, its goodness, the grace of its people, the beauty of its land, the hunkiness of the people in the red cutting the trees. And also the people in the red on horses, RCMP. Canada is known not just for lumberjacks and RCMP, but they're known for so much more. In my mind, Canada is right next to Switzerland in terms of independence and standing for peace and being a place where people can feel safe. And we take it for granted. And I believe it deserves our intention and our attention so that we don't just take it for granted. That instead we stand on guard for the values that make Canada, Canada. They're not as guaranteed as I would have liked to believe. And we've seen relationships that we thought were guaranteed in the past several months, but certainly also in the last several years. We've seen relationships that we thought were guaranteed kind of get blown up. And what has it done for us as Canadians? It's forced us in many ways to look at what our values are. And what are we willing to stand on guard for? As much as I'd like to think that we in Canada are immune to the forces which threaten civil rights and LGBTQ rights, and abortion rights, and women's rights, and immigration rights, and the rights of all people to be treated equally. What I've come to believe is that lest the same fate happen to us, it is important to remember what we stand for. So let's look at some of these things that make us quintessentially Canadian. And when we do, let's think of the fact that Canada isn't like some nebulous thing. It is an idea. But the idea is made up of each one of us and how we show up. This is Canada. If these values that I'm about to speak about define Canada, then they must define each of us as well. And that means that we, as individuals, also are encouraged to recommit to these values that I'm going to share with you. The first is DEI, that scary thing in the United States which has been essentially banned. What does it mean? Well, diversity is the state of having variety. And I look around and I see variety here. And if you go to any Canadian celebration anywhere, you will see variety in the nationalities of people, in the languages they're speaking, in the languages that you're hearing. You see variety. As of 2023, Canada has 40 million people. We finally overtook the population of California. And more than 90% of us live within 150 miles of the US border. Because it's a big country, but it ain't always that friendly when it comes to establishing communities. The colder you get, the further north you get. Most of us live pretty close to the United States. We have the 8th largest immigration population in the world. More than 8 million of us were not born in Canada. Over 20% of our population are immigrants. And 5% of our population is Indigenous. Almost 2 million people are Indigenous. There's some really cool things about this idea of leaning into diversity instead of insisting on uniformity. Multiculturalism was introduced as an official policy in 1971 by Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. And it was adopted, the first country in the world to actually adopt multiculturalism as a value, as a policy, which recognizes the rights of all citizens to preserve their cultural heritage and identities while fully participating in Canadian society. And in 1988, Canada became the first country on the planet to pass a national multiculturalism law. Anyone who joins in a Canada Day celebration anywhere will notice the different nationalities, all proudly wearing the Canadian flag. In cities and Toronto, like Toronto and Vancouver, where almost half of the population was born outside of Canada, you see this mosaic of beautiful faces, different languages, different religions, different. And beautiful. Can we lean into the idea that this diversity benefits us all? That diversity of all of these different nationalities is something that we benefit from. Not just related, by the way, to nationalities, but including things like cultural and gender diversity. Canada was the first nation in the world to expand our national census questions to include gender diversity so that we could understand who the people in Canada are and how they identify. And we discovered that 1 out of every 300 Canadians over the age of 15 identify as transgender or non-binary. I suspect that's a much higher number than many of us would have expected, 1 in 300. The thing is, diversity benefits us. It helps us to see the human in each one of us. It helps us to see different perspectives. It helps us, from a purely selfish point of view, to eat brilliant food from across the world. But more than that, diverse teams on the whole, and research has shown, that diverse teams outperform homogeneous ones because different perspectives lead to better solutions. Cultural exchange makes us wiser, not weaker. The saying is, our strength is not in our sameness, but in how we live through our differences. So that's diversity. Equity is the idea of treating every person as if they are equal and equally deserving. No matter who you are, young, old, abled, diversely abled, traditionally abled, gay, straight, white, brown, whatever those labels are, the value of equity is about removing barriers so every person is treated equally. And that's where inclusion comes in, to make sure that we are all able to be treated equally. In a time when global forces are increasingly pushing towards division, we, many of us, are standing against the idea of becoming more isolated, and instead stepping in and standing in diversity matters. Diversity is a good thing. Distinct, valuing distinction, and nourishing inclusive values that make us who we are. That doesn't mean that we are perfect. And one of the places that we are so on our road from imperfection to a path towards healing is in the way that we have treated people who are Indigenous. Many of us grew up not knowing anything about this. I remember being at work one day. I used to work at a party store, and one of the things we would do is have like Canada Day merchandise and stuff like this that we would send out to schools and hotels and restaurants and things like that. And one of our customers were people who were on the reserve. And I remember my friend Nancy saying, I don't know that you should send it to them. I'm like, why? In my absolute naivete, I had no idea about the atrocities of things like the 60s scoop, where children were taken away from their families, where families were drawn apart, pulled apart. And we still see the effects of that intergenerational trauma today. It was the first time I understood why people who are of Indigenous heritage would not want to sing "O Canada." And I know it has affected all of us who are non-Indigenous as well, with a sense of sadness and depression and perhaps a little bit of guilt, and certainly a feeling of what's appropriate, what isn't. And the answer is to keep talking about it, to keep shining a light on the fact that there were 94 recommendations that are calls to action by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. And we are making small progresses, aren't we? If I had done this program 10 years ago, the likelihood of me adding something with Indigenous flavor would probably have been quite low. Is it enough? Probably not. We're learning. We see it in things like land acknowledgements. We see it in things like the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. We see it in an awareness from each one of us about the harm that was done. Let's just remember that reconciliation is not something that happens in a moment. It is a movement, and we are moving towards it. But let's not lose attention on that. I found this, it's on your screen, it was written several years ago. We are reaching out our hands to honor the Aboriginal people. If we keep on doing this, their broken hearts will mend, and they will feel peaceful and happy in Canada. Wouldn't that be lovely? If the first peoples of this land could feel peaceful and happy in Canada. Let's move on. We have work to do on this accountability piece. Let's not lose sight of that. One of the other things, let's move it a little lighter for you, a little more levity perhaps. One of the things that Canada values is integrity. The ability to stand up and say, this is a conflict of interest, I am stepping down, even if the legal system says that's not technically necessary. A man in Vancouver once returned a bike that he had stolen. He was drunk, needed a way home, saw a bike, thought, great, I'm going to get on this bike. And then he returned it with a handwritten apology and money to cover the damages. The note read, I was drunk and stupid. I don't deserve this bike, but I hope this makes it right. There was another one that I found that says, I don't know where it came from, so I stole the bike, and I don't remember where to return it to. If this was yours, I'm sorry. And put an ad in the paper. And then I found this other little note. Sometimes I get offended by Canadian stereotypes. But then I remember once my friend came back from vacation to see a robber in her house. And then her family sat that robber down and they had a lengthy discussion about life choices. Guy in the class said his brother lost his wallet while he was traveling in Canada, and someone shipped the wallet to him from Canada with all of his money and with some Canadian souvenirs too. Integrity. Integrity. Saying what you mean, meaning what you say, making it right. Creativity. Did you know that Sir Frederick Banting, who was the co-discoverer of insulin, was Canadian? At the University of Toronto in 1921. Think of the millions of lives that have been saved by that Canadian. The electric wheelchair, alkaline batteries, zippers, incandescent light bulbs, radiation treatments for cancer, the Robertson screwdriver, the one with the square, not the cross, Canadian invention. The caulking gun, the paint roller. Think how many lives have been saved by that. And maybe how many marriages have been saved by that. Thank you, whoever that was. The Canadarm, basketball. Canadians are pretty darn inventive. I wonder if that comes from living in a place which at times can be challenging to live in. So necessity is the mother of all invention. Maybe. I don't know. But we've made some amazing, amazing differences on the planet. The IMAX, Canadian invention. And of course, poutine, Nanaimo bars, butter tarts, all Canadian. Canadian creativity, solving problems and adding to joy. Yay. One of the things that is most admired about us Canadians is how lighthearted we are, how nothing seems to bother us. I remember it was one time I traveled to New Orleans, and I was doing something, and I don't quite know what happened, but this person either bumped into me or they were late or something happened and there was some kind of miscommunication. And they came up to me and they're like worried. And I just said, no worries. And this person said, and I kid you not, this person said, are you Canadian? Just because of that, no worries. What if you could live your life thinking, no worries? Your life would change. Russell Peters, Samantha Bee, Ryan Reynolds, Catherine O'Hara, Eugene Levy, Mike Myers, Jim Carrey, Michael J. Fox, Brent Butt, so many people, Canadian. In Canada, we echo the words of Oscar Wilde, who unfortunately was not Canadian. Life is too important to take it seriously. What if we could work with no worries? Politeness. On your screen, you will see an image of Canadian graffiti at its finest. You know, the graffiti that you would think you would see in a bathroom would be, your mama is. Well, this one says, your mama is a nice lady. A sign that we would see typically in an apartment door would be something like, it may seem rude, but please don't open the door for strangers. Walt's son, Marcus, is from the United States, and he traveled up to, I think it must have been, or maybe he saw the picture. I don't recall the details, but he was on Vancouver Island. One way or another, he saw signs from Vancouver Island that say things like, please don't litter, please, please, whatever the instruction was. There's always some sort of a please. And he's like, you would not see that in the United States. It would just be, don't litter. There would be no please. The stereotype that we have as polite people is very real. Studies shows that Canadians interrupt people less. And they use softer language more often. Things like just checking or if you don't mind. Politeness is not something that we see as a weakness. We see it as a respectful gesture. And you may have heard of the Canadian standoff, which is when people are opening a door. And one person says, you first, and the other one says, no, thank you, you first, and no, thank you, you. And finally, both of you decide to go together, and then you butt heads. Kidding. That's not what happens. And what are we most famous for when it comes to politeness? What's the one word? Sorry. My friend Martha Creek tells a story about how she knows she's in Canada. She says she can tell right away when she lands in Canada, the people are different. I think it's to do with this politeness thing. They're more gentle. And she was in a grocery store and somebody bumped her cart. She had the right of way. Somebody bumped her cart. And that person, oh no, I'm getting it wrong. She didn't have the right of way. The other person was in the aisle as, minding their own business, doing their shopping, and Martha bumps her cart. And who said sorry first? The person who was completely not at fault. Have you ever been to a movie theater and you're the person who is late and now you've got to climb over people's feet to get to your seat? Notice how often it may happen that the people who you are inconveniencing will say, I'm sorry. It's such a habit of us beautiful Canadians, that in 2009, Ontario enacted something called the Apology Act. And the reason for it is because we have a tendency to say, I'm sorry. Well, legally, you may have been warned, never say you're sorry, because it may be an admission of your guilt. And in 2009, the Ontario legislature said, no, it just means that you're feeling empathetic. And so you can't use I'm sorry as an admission of a person's guilt anymore. There's a picture of people at what I think was an Olympic curling match holding up a sign for Canada. Let's see if I can find it. Maybe on the next one. There. And the sign is held up, so on the front for the TV cameras it'll say, Go Canada, go. And on the back it says, I'm sorry for blocking your view. So cute. Sorry isn't about accepting blame. It's about recognizing an inconvenience and expressing sympathy for that. And a couple of other little things here. Canada, known, respected internationally as peacekeepers and peacemakers. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Lester B. Pearson, the former Prime Minister of Canada, one of them, for whom Toronto's airport is named, won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1957. In Canada, we try to work hard to choose mediation over militarism. Let's talk about it. Let's find a way where all sides can be included. Let's stand for peace in hope for all mankind. And perhaps, though, Canadians are best known for being kind and taking care of our own people. This golden key of kindness is the thing that I think most characterizes us as Canadian. Somebody wrote, I found this little meme. I went through Tim Hortons so that I could break a $20 bill, and the lady in front of me had paid for my tea. Where we see it the most is in things like taking care of each other, but also in taking care of each other as a part of our law. Things like our healthcare system, things like inclusion and diversity. I was once on a call. It was like a workshop, but it was on Zoom. And most of the people on the call were from the United States. And the facilitator said, name one of the things that concerns you most about money. And I can't even tell you how many people said, I live in fear of losing my house if I get sick. Pooh! We don't have that fear in Canada. We don't have that because we take care of each other, and there is this social safety net that says, you know, that may be me one day, so I'm willing to put a little bit in to make sure that all of us have access to health care. Can you imagine how much stress that must be for people to live under the idea of, if I get sick, I may lose my home? I may go into debt. I may become bankrupt. That would make me more sick. We don't have that. Canadians are kind. We care about each other. We care about each other. We see it as a shared responsibility. And I think it's part of the reason that we have this international reputation as peacekeepers, is because we genuinely lean into caring for each other. So this Canada Day, look to yourself. You are Canada. There is no God keep our land glorious and free. It's each one of us representing God, keeping our land glorious and free. I saw a t-shirt the other day, I was telling somebody, and it had the map of North America on it. And here, beautifully in red, was the picture of Canada, and it said Canada. And beneath it was where the United States would be, and it said, not Canada. I loved it. If we don't want to be the 51st state, if we don't want to be slowly eaten away by values that don't define who we really want to be, then we need to stand on guard for these values. And we do it each and every day by practicing celebrating diversity, by practicing ensuring that there is equity and inclusion in our communities. We practice it by standing up and holding ourselves accountable when we screw up and resolving to do better. We practice it when each one of us does the right thing even when nobody is looking, practicing integrity. We do it when we find creative solutions to things that might actually benefit more than just ourselves. We practice being Canadian and holding to these values when we make life lighter, when we look on the brighter side of life, when we make people laugh, when we say no worries. We embody these values when we are polite to each other, when we see other people as having a choice that we can request a behavior and honor if they choose not to. And we can say thank you and be polite. And when we mess up, oh my goodness, how much does it really cost us to say, I hurt your feelings, I'm sorry. Peacemakers. Be a peacemaker in your own life, in your own family. Be kind in your own life. It is Canadian and it is you, because what? You are Canadian. And I have to leave you with this tiny little thing, and then we're going to enjoy Chris Hadfield and his brother singing. Do you ever think about how we joke about Canada, eh? Eh? It's kind of like another one of those funny things that everyone knows about Canada. Well, we get it honestly. Have you ever looked at the spelling of Canada? C-A-N-A-D-A. Hey! Here's Chris Hadfield and his brother, the amazing astronaut, by the way.
Canada? What's with Canada? We got great big cities, but a lot of trees and rocks. Yeah, the winter's cold here. Wear 2 pairs of socks. There's half the world's fresh water to paddle your canoe or camp along the shoreline. It's what we like to do in Canada. Ooh, I'm living in Canada. Float my boat in Canada. Oh, bait my hook in Canada. We tend to do things different. We each have our routine. Some of us eat kubasa, some of us poutine.
Oh, j'aime poutine.
But we have traditions that help us stick together. Our milk comes in a bag, and mosquitoes eat at leisure. Playing in a snowsuit, the true north strong and free. Hockey night on Saturday, there on CBC.
Or now on Sportsnet.
In Canada. Center ice in Canada.
Coming to you coast to coast.
He shoots, he scores in Canada. Oh, I'm a player in Canada. We pronounce the letter R like we're pirates on a ship. And we'll drive 2,000 miles for a summer camping trip. We wear sorels in winter while plugging in the car. We eat the holes from donuts. We love Nanaimo bars. And we do possess a word that lubricates our speech. It's pretty good, eh? Pretty good, eh? And it's always within reach in Canada. How's it going in Canada? Out and about in Canada. Oh, drop your G in Canada. Oh, I've slept out in a forest, scared I heard a bear. I've climbed a rocky mountain just because it's there. Crossed the great St. Lawrence, said merci beaucoup. Pardon me, I'm sorry. Excuse me. After you in Canada. Politely in Canada. Right up here in Canada. Oh, you don't butt in Canada. Every city empties on the 24th of May.
Queen's birthday.
And if we say not bad,
Not bad.
we're better than okay.
Not bad.
There's workman's comp and pokey for when we're shown the door. There's Canadian Tire money in at least one kitchen drawer. And we have a golden rule that runs between these shores. You stay out of my face, I'll stay out of yours. In Canada, get along in Canada. Kiss the cod in Canada. Oh, the friendly giant in Canada. Ooh, oh, 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 Canada.
Bonne fête, Canada. Happy Canada Day from the Hadfield family.
Oh,
We're up. If you'd like to get into a circle, we'll sing our peace song and our prayer for protection. If you're able, if you prefer not to hold hands, that's fine. Just keep them by your side. And as we get ready to sing, let us just take a moment now to give thanks for the food that we're about to eat. Give thanks for the food. Give thanks for the hands that prepared the food. And give thanks. Give thanks for life, which sustains us. And most of all, this week, give thanks for this place. Happy Canada Day.
And let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as Creator, family all we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
I am the light of God, I am the love of God, I am the power of God, I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. I am the light of God, I am the love of God, I am the power of God, I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. You are the light of God, you are the love of God, you are the power of God, you are the presence of God. Wherever you are, God is. You are the light of God, you are the love of God, you are the power of God, you are the presence of God. Wherever you are, God is. We are the light of God, we are the love of God, we are the power of God, we are the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
That was fun.